Bring it in.
3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? Oh, I have my speakers on.
Oh, Kevin. God.
No, that's you.
Is that me?
That's you.
All right.
Well, at least we know we're live now.
Yep, we're live.
It would not be a good show
Nope.
if it actually all worked. And by the way,
Yep.
my chat is not working, so I'm going to exit and try to fix that.
Okay, well, you get on that. And what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Ordinary Guy Show. I almost forgot the name of our show for a second. So here's the deal. The other day, Kevin said he really wanted to talk about conspiracy theories, and I told him to piss off because I'm not really big into conspiracy theories. I mean, Bigfoot is just a really fucking hairy dude, and the moon has always been a block of cheese. And what else we got? The Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, and whatever you want to get into, you write it in the chat. And if I can see it, that would be great.
The Loch Ness Monster is basically a giant turtle taken at a really close-up picture. And so anyway, so Kevin wanted me to listen or watch some stuff. He wanted me to watch some stuff on the moon landing, and I did. And I am here to tell you that my head is all screwed up. So Kevin and I are going to talk about it, and we are going to answer these questions. We're ordinary guys. We're going to answer these questions for you. We're doing all the thinking for you. By the time we're done here, you're going to know the truth.
So let me preface all this. A lot of this research was done after probably a fair amount of drinking and late night YouTubing with YouTube experts. And as we know from watching this show, there's no such thing as a YouTube expert.
No.
But I will give you my analysis. I will give you both sides of it. And then I'll tell you what I think at the end of the show as far as, I think the first one we want to get to. Do we want to do 9/11 or do we want to do
No, I want
moon landing?
the moon. Look, okay? My entire world has been rocked. All right? We need to get this moon shit out of the way.
First off, what did you do to prepare?
I watched like 3 documentaries and read a few articles.
Like pro or con?
You know what? I think that most of the documentaries are con, right?
Yeah, because that's where the viewership is.
Yeah, most of them are anti. I even wrote some stuff down that I wanted to bring up, but a lot of the quotes, a lot of the dialogue is all leaning towards hoax, right? But, you know, I'm not an idiot. I can see through a lot of the stuff, and I can tell what a lot of people are doing. But honest to God, my head is really messed up on this, man. It really is. Oh, but we do have an announcement. What's going on at the end of the show?
I don't remember. Oh! How did I already forget?
I can't believe you forgot that already.
So Mr. Joe Parlapiano, made a bet that Duke would win the championship. And we bet him his beard that would not happen. And let's just say it played out in our favor because it is fantastic what we did to his beard. And we actually did it right before the show, so you are going to see it first here live. And you're going to get to see Mr. Joe's beautiful manscaping he has going on now.
It's going to be perfect.
Yes. So with that being said, if you are watching on Facebook, try to get over to YouTube, like and subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications. I have added that to my speech.
Hit the bell for notifications?
Yeah, and for some reason my website's not working again, so we're just going to have to push it all to YouTube. But feel free to watch us anywhere you can find us.
Well, we prefer YouTube because it's easier for us. We don't have to mess with anything too much. But anyway, so... you know what, though? I already forgot the name of the documentary that I watched. Well, do you remember the name of that thing? Okay, we're off to a phenomenal start.
Are we talking moon? Because I told you to watch 9/11 Loose Change.
No, we're doing moon.
Yeah, I didn't tell you about any. I just said there's a bunch on Netflix.
Netflix had a good one. And, oh, you know what I found, though? People at home, if you do a Netflix search on just moon landing, there's actually a few different shows will pop up because they have an episode or two about the moon landing. So I can't see. Who's got no problem?
Nobody.
No problem, you wrote.
Oh, you can't see all the stuff?
No, because
you'll never log into the right thing.
I'm on my personal page.
Okay, so I'll narrate. So Sam said, sorry I didn't make it tonight, guys. I said, no problem. And Scott Treader said, What up, fellas? Happy Wine Down Wednesday. And
Wine Down Wednesday. Hey, so Scotty.
I do Liquor Down Wednesdays.
Yeah, so Scott, Jack Daniels and Orange Vanilla Coke Zero. Orange Vanilla Coke Zero.
Definitely don't either of them sponsor us.
No.
In fact, we sponsor them.
We do. We keep them alive. I'm looking at this picture of what eventually everybody's going to see of Joe's beard. It's just disgusting.
All right, let's get in the moon landing.
All right.
Obviously, we live near pretty much where everybody works to send up the space shuttle, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, everybody that lives in Titusville, well, not everybody, but I'd say at its peak prime, 60 to 70% of people that lived in Titusville probably worked at the Space Center. And let me tell you something. If you live in this town, I am more amazed every day as I get older that those people I knew were able to send that thing up into the air, which makes it even more believable that it's a hoax because let me tell you,
dude, they're like our parents and our parents' buddies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And look, I love all of you.
It doesn't help it.
I love all of you, but you're not the brightest people. We love you dearly.
But you just look at it, you hang out with these people, you see them all the time. Like if you were watching and you were from Texas, you would think, right, that everybody that worked out of the Cape is a genius.
100%.
That's not true.
Yeah, not true.
That thing was held together by spit, duct tape, and God knows what else.
All right. So to kind of like jump right into the conspiracy theory part of this, my whole philosophy, like not even philosophy, my mindset on all this has been, how can that many people shut their damn mouth? Now, some of these documentaries definitely answered that question for me, and I think that one of these biggest questions is how many people would have even really known? Right? So of all the people working out at the Space Center, you think that they all have to be bought into the conspiracy, but real talk.
Or not kept privy to it.
Correct. Well, or not kept privy to, but real talk, they're in the dark as much as we probably are, for the most part.
And that's the other side of this coin. And what I was going to say, there's got to be a whole lot of people that didn't know.
It has to be.
Because this town, let me tell you, this town, if anything happens,
if we were
it is front page news.
Oh, if we were a ship, we would be at the bottom of the ocean because them loose lips would sink us all. But to be honest with you, I don't think that okay, so let's just say this is a conspiracy. I don't think that a lot of people were privy to that information.
No, and they wouldn't be. But there's a lot of stuff that, has come up. I have a whole list here, but I'll go over, a couple of them.
Well, let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the very beginning and give people a breakdown on the story. So Apollo 11.
So I'm glad you knew it was 11 because I sure didn't. Mm-hmm. So I forget which number did what. All I know is at the time we were racing the Russians to get to the moon.
Correct. This is during the Cold War. And the whole idea behind this was first person to the moon essentially wins the Cold War.
It more or less gives you an upper hand because just like in war, the high ground.
It's a high ground. Well, the idea was like, oh my God, if they can get onto the moon and we can't, they have the ability to put missiles up there and rockets, and they can destroy us all from the moon.
Yes.
What they thought.
And I'll get into more of that later.
Yeah.
So, point is they put up Sputnik first, right? That was a big deal.
First man in space was a Russian.
And I know that Sputnik wasn't really doing much other than sending back beeps. But at the time,
I always, when I was a kid, I used to get Sputnik and Spuds McKenzie confused. Do you remember Spuds McKenzie? Was that the Budweiser dog?
I do.
The Budweiser dog with the black eye patch?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Continue.
Nothing like derailing over Spuds McKenzie. But no, so it was a huge deal. Not to mention we were on the verge of probably World War III. If you would have thought, like, first off, the only person that had as many or more nukes probably than us is the Russians. Now you give them the ability to go into space and possibly fire them at us
from space.
This is a huge, huge problem.
Yep. Now, the Cold War is another thing that I eventually want to get into. Not really tonight, but there's a whole lot of backstory to like how many times or how close we actually were to war. And there's some talks about how JFK was essentially like...
Wrong president.
What?
Cold War wasn't Kennedy.
Cold War was Kennedy?
No, the end of the Cold War was definitely Reagan.
No, what was Kennedy? Kennedy was part of...
Bay of Pigs.
Bay of Pigs.
Yeah.
My mistake.
So, anyways, So the point here is you have this growing just pressure cooker of two of the largest militaries in the entire world. One being backed by China, which is Russia, and then obviously us being backed by, the UN, what is it, NATO, all the rest of them. So it essentially could have been World War III. And I forget exactly who wrote it, but have you ever heard the quote that said, "I know what World War II was fought with. It said, I know not what World War III will be fought with, but I know that World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones." In other words,
yeah,
there's going to be nothing left.
Yep. You're gonna go back to ground zero.
And heck, after the demise of of Russia as we know it, the USSR, there's nukes still missing. They're like, we don't know where the bomb is. The heck with it,
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were dealing with a lot. Like, people talk about Putin today. Putin's nothing compared to old USSR. Like this was bad. So, all this being said, the United States needed to get us up into space and get us on the moon.
Sure, and if you take so you have to take that into context when you're thinking about the moon landing. You have to. Because if you remove that from the equation, the moon landing has to be real. Right? If you right, why else?
They would have no reason.
No reason, right?
Other than the flat Earth people would have an absolute cow.
Sure, but that's now. At the time, right? At the time, people would have been very accepting to, we can't make it yet, or we're just not quite there yet technology-wise. Let's advance, right? Or they would eventually have gotten it, right?
Yes.
So, but the behind the scenes is kind of where that urgency comes into play, and then you start thinking conspiracy, because you made a point yesterday, and I think I agree with you. All right. So do we both agree that we've made it to the moon?
Yes.
I think we have.
We have landed on the moon.
I think we have landed on the moon.
But I feel a lot of people believe that.
Sure. Do you think Apollo 11 made it to the moon?
Are we sure it's the right Apollo?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm making sure. No, I don't think it did. And I could go into a million reasons why, and I could go through all the reasons on this list. And, a lot of them make sense, but there's a few very glaring ones that are hard to explain. Number one being, if you look at certain pictures, right, there's only one light source in space.
Sure.
And there is a debunk to this, but I've listened to the debunk, and it just doesn't make sense.
The problem I have with that is the debunk doesn't make complete sense, but it makes enough sense.
Not to me.
No?
Because here's the thing. You're talking about an exceptional level of science.
What's the debunk?
The debunk is that something to do with, I'd have to look it up. It's something to do with at the moon, it's not like Earth where you're going to get a constantly cast single shadow sort of a situation.
So the idea is the moon is essentially halfway lit, right? During a full moon, the moon is essentially halfway lit at the same time, whereas the Earth is not necessarily halfway lit at the same time.
Well, kind of.
So the idea is if there's any light, it's gonna
cast a single shadow, because where is it getting the light from?
Yeah, but the thing is, all right, the whole entire. You mean to tell me that there's hills on the moon from what we've seen? There's little crevices and whatnot. So why aren't those just big dark shadows that we can't see? You get what I'm trying to say?
Well, and I can't find the website right now, but if you look at the background on two different shots, it lines up completely the same.
Oh yeah, so that was one of them. Okay, so okay, I don't want to get too far like in circles with this. So the idea is most people who believe it's a hoax believe that the entire thing was essentially created on a movie set. For the most part, they think
by who? Stanley Kubrick, they think did it?
They think I think they did.
Who's the one that made The Shining? Because The Shining...
You look that up. I'll continue to tell what everybody thinks. So the idea is they think that most of the moon landing was done essentially in a closed movie set, and there's reasons for it, right? A couple of the reasons were that if there is no wind on the moon, how is the flag waving in the air, right? The second is if all the cameras have crosshairs fixed on the lens, they would always be in front of the image, right? Did you hear that?
I
You know
didn't hear
theory?
that one.
So
Explain that one.
So the theory behind that, if you guys can look at me, is there's essentially a crosshair, an X, on the camera lens. There's 4 of them, I believe, at least 2, but essentially in each corner so that they can line up the picture correctly, right? So if there's a crosshair on the lens, then you would see my face, but you would see the X over my face, and it would have to be removed.
Right.
Right? So there are pictures that are taken where the X essentially would go like this and stop at my face. So if you wanted to look some of those up, I could probably do it.
Scott brought up another one. We talked about this on another show, but I always find it funny. He
What's
put, how the hell is there better video in 1969 on the moon than 2019
Oh,
KTO?
it's like Ultra 4K before there was even Ultra 4K. Some of them, right?
Yeah.
But yet the ones where there's actual
You got to think, though, NASA's got more technology than we do.
They did, but they came out blaming everything on poor technology. You get what I'm trying to say? So I'll have to look it up here, but essentially, what I'm getting at is if the lens itself has crosshairs on it, you would always see the crosshairs in front of the image. But there are images where you can't see one of the crosshairs because it's behind the image, but yet you see the other one right here.
Yeah.
Like to me, that's kind of weird. But here's
Not
the
to
deal.
mention, the cameras were mounted on their bellies.
They were mounted on their bellies, but they also did look like they were somewhat loose. Like they were able to get like some angle on them, if that makes sense. Like they were designed to be useful. But part of the thing that really, I try not to just see the first thing, because you listen to these documentaries and they're all negative, 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 right? So I try not to buy into it too much and say, couldn't they have been actual pictures from the moon that were just doctored after the fact? To look better, to be more clear.
I think anything's possible.
To not cover
at this
the
time.
flag, right?
Because it wasn't like we're racing to the moon just to get to the moon, like you said before. We're racing to the moon to protect ourselves.
Correct.
And it is not beside them to go and do things in war, such as Pearl Harbor, that are not exactly the right thing to do. I mean, we won't get into that whole thing. But that's been proven that was kind of allowed to happen, right? So the government, it's not beyond them to do some weird crap. Like, so that's what makes it even more, believable. But my biggest one, and the one I look at is blast radius. So when the lunar module is landing, right, and it's got to stop. Now, I understand there's very little gravity on the moon. Now, there is gravity.
Sure.
There's not a lot,
Did you
gravity.
see when they speed up the video?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
See, this is all my recollection from a year ago.
No,
I
I've
didn't
got
get
some
a
good
chance
stuff
to
for you.
brush up.
I've got good stuff for you.
But, so, when the thing's coming out of the air, I understand it's not going to require a huge amount of force to stop this thing because obviously it's almost pure weightlessness. But, if you look at the other missions, there is a small blast radius below it.
Sure.
If you look at this picture, there is no blast radius below it.
NASA themselves even said that the blast would have caused. Okay, so when they tried to debunk that, what they said was that the amount of thrust needed to get off of the moon's surface and essentially be taken by space, right? Anti-gravity. But
Yeah.
it's either they're not fighting too much gravity to get blasted off, so
Well, it'd be down. That's where they screw up because the pictures were not taking on the way up. They're taking after the landing. There is force with that thing coming down.
coming down for sure because it's softening the landing. So, but one of the
There'd
things
be less going up.
Well, one of the things was going up. Yes, there'd be less, but one of the things they said was, well, why is there no, blast crater or whatever the deal is from it? What do they call that? Impact crater?
Something.
Whatever the deal is.
Something fancy.
So NASA said that it's not enough force to create a crater. And I try to think to myself, well, creating a crater is probably a pretty powerful.
Then why did the other ones have it?
Correct. And the other thing, too, they said is all it would do is blow a bunch of dust around. There's no dust on any of the feet of the landing gear. There's no dust anywhere. Essentially, everything is spotless, right? So
here's the thing. We're not wearing tinfoil hats, and we're not sitting here saying every conspiracy theory. Like, I don't believe Bigfoot exists, and I don't believe a lot of the stuff. I believe there's common sense that you have to look at, and you got to think, why would they do it? There is a lot of reason to do it. There's got to be a lot. and there was, because we were in jeopardy. And why would I, as a normal thinking person, want to think about this and not be just stifled? Like, most people just want to fight the stifling of the whole thing. And it's just because I like to keep an open mind, right? I could see how it could happen, right? And I do believe, like, 51% I believe it, but 49% I don't. So it's just like this hair. Like, I could be swayed that quick.
Sure.
So I want to say that because I'm not some kooky person that believes everything I hear.
Well, so I'm not. Again, I think we're right. We're not going to play devil's advocate to each other too much on this because I think we both kind of feel the same exact way.
Yeah.
So I think the way to say this is a super kooky person would say we've never been to the moon. It's never been done. We'll never do it.
They believe in flat Earth.
And
the whole the belts, the radiation belts.
The
radiation.
radiation.
Why they couldn't go. I don't believe any of that.
I don't believe the radiation belt, but there's some. Well, I believe that exists, but I don't believe that we couldn't get through it.
I believe you got to sit there just like if you're in a nuclear plant. You're not going to die in 1 minute.
Correct. Well, I think that there's precautions that NASA probably took.
Yeah.
Right. So, but anyway, so I guess what I'm really, really getting at here is. And just because I don't want this to be a show where all we do is what everybody else does on this and just essentially talk around in circles and then say, have a good night. Right? So I want to make the case that the very first landing
is fake
and did not happen. And the reason is, and here's just, again, these aren't facts, but these are the statements on why I think it's fake. There was the race to space and we had to win. Right? From that point on, we have been a culture of first place and first place alone, right? We never give up first place.
We were going to beat them to the moon, and we're going to beat their ass in Olympics hockey too, and we did it.
And but we're going to beat everybody every time, right?
Yes.
So that was the precedent we were trying to set, and we did because we effed the entire world. The entire freaking world believed we went to the moon.
Which bought us time.
And then when we actually did get to the moon, because we forced the Russians essentially to back off. If you're not too familiar with the case, is once we made it to the moon, it was a big deal. The Russians backed off and said, well, we never really had any intentions of going to the moon. We want to build a space station above the Earth.
And don't worry, we did that next.
Correct. But my point to that is, can I give you some interesting facts on the first one being fake versus the other ones? Okay, so obviously we know the reasons why the first one would be fake. Okay, so listen to this. So of the 6 flags that were planted in the ground, that would be the 6 times we've landed on the moon, only 5 of them are standing. The first one got blown down from taking off to come back. Okay?
Right.
So,
which they took pictures of it supposedly after the fact.
They took pictures of it. Yeah, exactly. They took pictures of it supposedly after the fact. Now, could that have been first time, made a mistake?
Here we go again, though. If it blew the damn flag over, why don't we have a blast radius?
I get it. So part of that is, was it too close? Was it close enough that a flag is still going to get blown over, right? 10 feet away from the thing, and then after that, they were like, hey, guys, when you go back up, put the flag at least, 200 feet away. I'm just saying that there's a possibility, right? But why of the five of the 6 flags that are in the ground are not the first ones, right? Apollo 11 flag not in the ground. And then the second here is
why was it waving?
Why was it waving and the other ones were not?
Yeah.
Right? That's a big deal. And then here is something that I saw in the second documentary that really, really screwed my head up big time. There's a major road right next to us, Grissom Parkway, named after an astronaut, the last name Grissom.
Yeah.
So he was making a very big case that some of the gear that they had, especially the capsule, was not capable of getting to the moon. There was too many issues with it. It kept failing during test runs. And then to the point that he did an unauthorized press conference where he hung a lemon on the capsule, like in the background.
Really?
Yeah. It was basically making a point like this is not safe. You know what happened to him? And he was one of the most renowned astronauts
He committed suicide by shooting himself twice in the head like somebody that told on the Clintons?
No, but they sacrificed him and somebody else when the machinery did fail during a test run and caught fire.
Oh, that was the fire one.
That was the fire. So Between 1964 and 1967, 10 astronauts died in freak accidents, equaling a total of 15% of the available astronauts. So these were all people that...
That'll shut the other ones up.
Yes. So that's my point. So these were all people that had some sort of affiliation to... well, they're astronauts, right? But they had some sort of connection to kind of spilling the beans on what they may have already known. And here's the deal. We're talking about astronauts being in the know. How many astronauts have we had versus the amount of people that worked at the Space Center?
Being an astronaut is the hardest job to get in the entire world.
So it's easy to keep a small group of people quiet, especially by paying them well, right?
Yep.
Paying them well, retirement benefits, and look, you're going to be infamous.
Oh, yeah. Well, and here's another thing. There's a lot of stuff. So there's supposedly a rock with a C on it. If you look in there, like there's a rock where you could see a C.
That's ridiculous.
Like a prop, right?
That's ridiculous.
Because it's labeled.
Yep.
They say that was a piece of something on the camera. Oh, forgot to tell you this. So I watched the documentary, and again, none of this is fact-checked. And it can't be.
Look, we are not astronauts, and we've never been in outer space, so we're
not smart enough to ever be an astronaut.
So we cannot give you the facts. Even if you told me that you've been up there and you saw it, I still can't say 100% that that's accurate. Yeah. I haven't been in.
So I saw a thing where the maker of the camera said the pictures could not have been taken with their camera in the way they were taken.
Yes, I saw that as well.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a while since I watched that.
Yep.
That was on the Netflix one.
So I think that NASA and the NASA spokesman and whoever was out there trying to debunk these conspiracy theories, they did a poor job, and they actually made it look worse for them. Did they not? By some of the things that they said.
Well, they're haughty. That's their problem. Yep. They talk down to people because they're scientists and they feel they're smarter. And,
well, they're super smart.
Yeah, but you don't have to talk down to people. That's when you lose your credibility.
So one of my favorites is the image that you were talking about earlier. So for those of you who don't know, there's an image of essentially a backdrop, and there's an astronaut doing two different things on the same image 2 different times. These are 2 days apart on the first landing. And NASA tried to say that they were, 2 miles apart, these spots. But really... Look, here's the deal. Why couldn't it have been the same day? The astronaut walks one way, comes back, walks another way, right? So they're
just happened to get it.
Just happened to get it, and to your credit, what you're trying to say is they're taught. They're like,
Yeah, if you're gonna just shun people off because
2 different days.
I know what I know, and you don't need to question me. Well, that works. Never.
Yeah, 2 different days, 2 miles apart. Oh, they can't just say we made a mistake. It's actually the same day, same astronaut, just did 2 different walks.
Well, and another thing is check out all them stars in the background. Not
0.
1.
0. No stars. Again, here's this. Could this have been like an over-ambitious kid who's editing these photos so they look great for the papers? Maybe the stars didn't print really well at that time. I'm not trying to make excuses. What I'm trying to say is there's really no clear-cut answers for this. They just dismissed everything instead of having an explanation.
Well, I just saw another one. So another one that I saw on one of the videos is if you take the picture of them doing the walk and speed it up instead of
Yeah, that's what I was telling you.
Dude, it looks like they're just running around with some cords on.
Oh, they have the rover. So they have the rover, and if you watch it normally, the rover's kind of cruising around. It almost looks like it's kind of fighting gravity a little bit. You put it at 2 times the speed, it's kicking up roosters just like you would if you were out there on a 4-wheeler.
And the funny thing is if you look at the other ones, they don't look like that.
No. Which is why, again, look, it's very hard. How hard do you think it would be as a nation to come out and say, look, Apollo 11 never made it to the moon?
I think...
But the other 5 times we did.
It's too late.
I think it's way too late. What do you think the repercussions would be for that? I mean, there's no court that's going to hold us. There's no penalty. We still made it to the moon first.
I think that credibility of this country would fall even lower than it already is.
Do you really think that that would have that much of an impact?
To the actually, Americans, yes.
To essentially, for a lot of people that weren't around at that time. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, it has no impact on you and me. You get what I'm trying to say? Except we now have answers to these terrible lies. Do you think the last person has to die before it comes out?
Well, and that's what I was going to get to. So, two actually things I want to get to. So, I don't know if you happen to look up the interview with Buzz Aldrin recently. This was maybe 6 months ago, where he came out. He was doing now. Let me tell you both sides. Buzz is kind of losing it. Like, he's getting older.
Yeah,
he is. He sounds like he's drunk. I don't think he's drunk, but he ain't what he used to be.
No,
Let's put it that way. Buzz comes out. He's doing something for some school where he's talking to some little girl.
wearing a suit?
I don't remember. He's talking to some little girl. And look this up. You can find it out you can see it if you just type in Google "astronaut says we didn't go to the moon." He says that.
Oh yeah.
He says, because her question was, if we went to the moon, why haven't we went back? And his answer pretty much is, and I'm paraphrasing this completely wrong, I'm sure, was, well, that's the question I have because we never went. And it's like, that's the dude that stood on the moon.
But he could have also said the wrong words, and because he could have been.
But
like,
his reaction,
it's because it's like we never went.
Listen, my father was 100% no. You don't know what you're talking about. Blah blah blah. I said, go home, watch that video, and he goes, that'll make you think, because his reaction, like, because he's got handlers, right? His reaction, you could see him look up, see his handler, and go.
Yeah.
I
holy
gotta,
shit, why'd you say that?
I got to move this back around.
Sure. Now, going back to Buzz. So here's the problem I have. Okay, so if you're out there and if you're making if you're making conspiracy theory videos, one problem I have is steering and misleading, right? So you can take a quote and you could say a quote terribly wrong, and it just looks terrible, right? So for example, they knocked on Buzz. Did you see where he punched the reporter in the face?
Yeah, like I said, he's losing it.
But here's the deal. People say, if you're an astronaut and you did go to the moon and somebody says you didn't go to the moon, don't you come out there aggressively and say, yes, we went to the moon. I swear we went to the moon.
Yeah,
I was there.
Buzz on 2 missions?
But I don't want to say anything out of term. I don't know. So listen to this. The guy's talking to Buzz, and essentially Buzz punches him in the face. But what you can barely hear is he goes, "Did you go to the moon or did you not?" Before he gives Buzz an opportunity to speak, he goes, "You're a coward and a liar." Dude, if you called me a coward and a liar to my face, especially about something that I knew I didn't lie about, I may punch you in the face.
He still got shot up in the air on a bottle rocket.
Sure, I may still punch you in the face as well. You get what I'm trying to say? So they're trying to make it look. So here's the deal: is if you're going to use that as evidence, like, you can't call him a coward and a liar and then complain that he punched you in the face.
I don't know why you flipped to me on that one, but I would totally agree.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. It's steering. You're steering the conversation. It's like, oh, of course you pissed him off because you called an old timer who's a legend, especially around here, a coward and a liar.
Yeah.
My grandfather would punch you in the face, and he's a sweet guy.
But I mean, there's a lot of things that make you raise an eyebrow. Now, here's the other side of that. And like I said, I'm 51-49. I've made up my mind. I believe the first one was faked and the rest were real. But here's the other part of it, right? To get that many people that would have had to have known what was really going on to not talk is dang near impossible.
Well, they killed them all.
Well, they killed most of them.
They killed So here's the deal. Kevin, I'm going to give you a lot of money to keep your damn mouth shut about this conspiracy. What do you say?
Do we have the radio show or not?
What do you mean?
That would blow us up.
Oh, no, we don't have the radio show at that
Because
time.
we got that.
No.
I'm telling all.
No, we don't have a show.
I'm writing a book.
So, no. Okay, so let's just say there's a conspiracy right now, and Kevin, I'm going to pay you a lot of money for the rest of your life. You're not going to have to worry about it. You just have to keep your mouth shut about this thing. You good?
Yeah.
Right. A lot of people probably are. Now, here's the difference. Can't be done today. It can't be done today because you can spill the beans before they can shut you down.
Yeah.
Back then, they could shut you down way before you could spill the beans. Like, literally.
Speaking of today.
If you wanted to say something, you're going to schedule a press conference, they're going to know about it.
Yeah.
Because you can't just pop open your phone and
You'd
start
be dead
blasting.
before they got it.
That's what I'm saying. Your car breaks down. You have your tire blows out.
Now you just get on Skype.
Now, exactly.
From the phone.
So that's what I think, that once these dinosaurs die, I don't know, I think shit changes.
I still
they probably
don't think
have
it
less
ever
to
comes
worry
out.
about. I don't think so either. Once these dinosaurs die, they've got nothing to worry about.
Here's another damning piece of evidence is they supposedly lost all the launch data, so that's why we haven't gone back to the moon. You're going to tell me you lost the launch data? How do you lose the launch data?
It's the first time we ever went to the damn moon and you're losing that shit? It's like me with my keys every day. I can understand
Why would
that.
you? It's one of the most important things you've ever done as an American society, and you're going to... That's like Columbus sailing to the United States and not plotting the track and keeping it. He's like, "Oh, we're here. Screw it. We're just gonna leave it."
There's no way they're as careless as I am. And yesterday I drove to Max Brewer Bridge to go for a run, and I called Janet and said, "Hey, did I leave my headphones like on the table?" She's like, "No, I can't find them. I don't know where they are." I can't find them anywhere. And I get out and I see my reflection in the car, and they're up here on my hat. Right?
You'd have lost the launch data.
That's what I'm trying to say. So it's possible. I can't say that it's not possible. But how the hell do you lose the damn launch data?
What I think's amazing is that they ever shot anything up there ever.
It's spectacular. Did you happen to see the Russian rocket that was supposed to compare to the Saturn?
Yeah, sure. That's still the one they're using.
No,
the ones they have are from the 70s.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to send you guys a link to this. I'm gonna pull it up not now, obviously, because it's gonna take me too long. I'm an idiot. I won't be able to find it. But there is a oh geez. So part of that documentary that I saw, it was an episode within a conspiracy theory series that covered this. But the second part of that was that the Russians had their own conspiracy about rockets as well, because they had a rocket that couldn't get off the ground. They had a rocket that couldn't get off the ground, so essentially they paid everybody off to say that.
Well, that's why
happened.
the shuttle was so incredible is the weight.
Yes.
Like the force, right? The force to create the thrust that is involved in getting that thing not only off the ground, but to get it up.
Right.
No one's ever been able to replicate it.
That was I don't want to say the wrong thing, especially being around here, but that was where the SRB came into play, right? The solid rocket booster was the game changer and all that, wasn't it?
I don't know. I just know we're the only ones that ever did it because Russia tried, and
Well, I felt like the solid rocket booster was such a game
shed.
changer because essentially it was an entire rocket full of fuel.
I want to know from somebody in the chat, is it really illegal to have a shuttle tile? I've heard that's illegal.
I don't know. Does anybody know?
I know a lot of people that have one.
I saw a good friend was on earlier. I don't want to call him out just because we're on the show, but he is actually in Colorado right now. I got he's some conference out there. But he is, live or die, Lockheed kind of guy, right? And I wonder from their point of view, like how, not that they had anything to do with the conspiracy theories, but how deep was the talk of it being conspiracy theories? Like, did you go to work every day thinking that like 90% of it was a sham because you never actually went up to the moon? You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like you're in there and you're like, oh, my job is to program this computer. I'm like, what the hell does it matter? It doesn't matter that I programmed this computer. We never went to the damn moon to begin with. You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
So, I don't know. That's like the ultimate cush job, right? Hey, we're going to keep pretending like we're the best scientists in the world because they're filming this shit in Hollywood, and we'll be just fine.
Well, and that's another thing. So the conspiracy theory goes on past all this, and we've all seen the movie The Shining,
Sure.
I would think.
Well,
So,
most people have. We may have a younger audience.
I'll show you this. Notice the shirt he's wearing?
Yeah.
Apollo.
Yeah.
Right? So they think Stanley Kubrick is the one that videoed it.
Yeah.
And did all this
Well, tell
stuff.
people what to look for. What are they looking for?
So the little kid is walking down the hall with an Apollo USA shirt on. There's other references such as, I'll just read the thing here. It says, the evidence is admittingly intriguing. A scene 58 minutes into the film in which Danny wears a jumper with Apollo 11 knitted on the front. The prominence of eagles, a symbol of NASA, and bears representing space race rivals, the Russians, in the film's Mise en Scene. The mysterious Room 237, originally Room 217 in Stephen King's novel, so he changed it.
All right, so guys, I'm going to throw it on the screen real quick while Kevin's talking. Go for it. So check this out. If you're watching, that's the scene. That's the shirt.
Yeah, so there's his shirt. And so originally, The Shining was written by Stephen King, put to film by Stanley Kubrick. Kubrick changed the room number to 237. It originally in the book was 217. The reason why, supposedly, was it references the distance between the moon and the earth, which is exactly 237,000 miles.
See, but the reason they say here online is that, I'm reading it right now, is so others say that Timberline Lodge, one of the film's primary shooting locations, requested that Kubrick not use room 217 to ensure that future guests wouldn't be afraid to stay there.
But there's always a secondary thing.
Sure.
I mean, with everything. Even when we find out...
That's why it's a conspiracy theory, right?
But there's reason, that is the case. Because even when we know it's true, like after it's all over, right, and we know they had something going on, and let's say we get redacted documents that prove it, like Snowden, for example.
Yep.
No, that never happened. No, that never happened. No, Snowden's a liar. Well, no, he wasn't. But the point is they had all these validating statements, right, that said Snowden's out of his mind, he's lying.
Yes.
Well, he wasn't. So when this happens, you can't take their word for it.
I get it. No, I get it. I get it. And this is the part that just drives me nuts because, what is it that drives us nuts more? The fact that we want an answer or the fact that we're just mad that we can't get an answer? You get what I'm saying? Like, is it the fact that there's a conspiracy and people are trying to hide it? Because I don't really care. I just want to know the damn truth. But I don't really want to know the damn truth. I just don't want to be lied to.
You want to feel safe.
Feel safe.
That's what you forget.
So knowing the truth is what makes you feel safe?
Well, is my whole thing about 9/11 if we're going to even get there.
I don't know. Do you want to get there?
Oh, yeah, I do.
All right, we're 44. Do you want to break this up real quick and switch gears and then come back to 9/11?
Oh, show the video of Joe?
Yeah, I'm dying to show this.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me see. So
do us a favor. Yep. Get in the chat. Let us know what you think. Am I crazy? Should I wear a tinfoil hat? Are you even my friend anymore? Probably not in the first place, but let us know what you think about the moon landing. Was the first one real? Was it fake?
Well, can we if we're really going to switch gears like that, not that it's a problem, but I'm going to make a statement and you correct me if you feel otherwise, because I'm essentially representing us here. So I think that the Ordinary Guys show here is putting our stamp on this, and we're trying, because here's the deal. From this point on, we don't want you guys to worry about the moon landing anymore. We're answering that question for you.
And we are the end-all, be-all.
We are the end-all, be-all. If you have to even ask, then you're an asshole.
If you have to ask an idiot. One of those idiots.
We're the idiots. All right, so the moon landing. The first one did not happen. Kevin, agree?
Agree.
The first one did not happen, though they were in space. However, no, I don't even think that one went. Yeah, that had to. They went into space. They went into space. They went into space. They came back. They filmed the rest in a movie set. However, they figured their shit out once they saw that the Russians backed off and there was no pressure. So the other 5 made it, which I'm cool with. I believe that. Anyway,
you know who knows?
Who?
The black lady that worked out the trajectories. Remember that?
Yeah.
The movie with Kevin Costner and...
Yeah, but now we're talking about movies.
No, but I'm saying that woman's still alive. She knows.
Yeah. Are they just waiting for her to die before they say... Do they reconfirm it?
Yeah, they got a guy sitting out in front of her house
once
at all
the
times.
last person involved dies, they're going to come out with a movie that reaffirms that it happened so that we can all shut up. It's kind of like we're living in a time where the Hunger Games are a thing and nobody alive knows what life was like without the Hunger Games. So we're getting to the point that at some point nobody's going to know what life was like.
Reality.
Yeah, well, it's going to know. Nobody knows what life was like without the moon landing. You get what I'm trying to say? So anyway, I do agree, and I agree that I feel like they killed people. I'm throwing it out there. I feel like they killed
Bob
people.
Bob just said
the
greatest quote ever.
What?
Bob said, "Real or fake doesn't matter to me. The news of the USA making it to the moon shut the world up and propelled us as a country to a level of pride and progress we had never seen.
I agree.
That sums it up.
That's all it was for.
Yeah.
That's all it was for. Bob, you nailed it 100%. That's all it was for. So that's what I think. I think the first one was fake so that it did that purpose, and then it allowed us to peacefully get the next 5 up there.
And we saved ourselves from a world war.
Look, they knew what they were doing.
You keep saying Kennedy.
Because Kennedy was the one who said that they needed to put a man on the goddamn moon.
Yes, but it didn't happen until...
But he was the one who said it.
Apollo
That's what I'm saying.
missions
He's the
later.
one that said it, made him look great. We did it.
And then the USSR fell under Reagan.
Yes.
So
I think that is...
a perfect segue into
yes.
Joe Parlapiano's shaving.
Well, let me see real quick. I want to check with... oh, boy.
What?
I'm throwing Joe under the bus. Joe said never having crystals again when I texted him and told him we were going to show this, which means that he's probably pooping his pants.
I love crystals.
I do too. Did we tell everybody what
yeah,
we did
it was
already?
on the show, but it hadn't aired yet.
We ordered 6 sackfuls of crystals. 6 sackfuls of crystals. It was a terrible experience. Don't think I'll ever do that again. However, Kevin, explain to everybody what happened. So when we show this video, they know what's going on?
So Joe came on the show, and you should listen to that one, by the way. And if you haven't watched the ink blot test, like little thing on YouTube, it's 14 or 15 minutes long. I promise you, if you watch that whole video, you will laugh. And if you don't, you don't have a soul.
You
like
have
none
no
at
soul.
all. Let me just say something, because you'll watch it and you'll know what this means. 2 witches, back to back, pooping on a toilet.
It's going to be our next T-shirt.
Yes.
We're making it. It has to be after all the other T-shirts that we said we were going to make, but we never are. I'm going to get in touch with somebody and get those damn T-shirts made.
Yeah, that's going to be the best.
We have to.
Watch the episode. I promise it's worth it. But
yeah.
Anyways, so we had Joe on the show.
American Regardless is in the house. We're going to take a quick pause. American Regardless, thank you guys so much. Happy birthday, Cody. We got a shout-out coming to you. I think we already did it on one of our other episodes, but we're going to do this on YouTube because we can't really advertise on YouTube. But you guys definitely check out American Regardless at AmericanRegardless.com. They make some pretty badass clothing for pretty badass Americans. And I am actually curious to hear what a veteran has to say about the moon landing, to be honest with you. So maybe we'll catch up with him.
I think he intentionally missed the whole thing, though.
I think so, too, so he wasn't a part of it.
Yeah, so he's like, I can't hate these guys.
I honestly think so. Hey, but since he's a man of clothing, let us know what you think. A T-shirt of 2 witches back-to-back pooping on a toilet. What do you think? Is that a good seller? I think that's the number 1 hit.
I think if they watch the show, they'll love it. And I feel like if Joe's watching right now, he is dying.
Yeah. Oh my God. That just to be in the room at that time was
I was crying.
Remarkable.
I was crying.
My favorite was The Sad Samurai. You guys have to watch it. You really do. You guys definitely have to watch. Oh, American Regardless is fake. You saw it?
Yeah.
Yes. Thank
Nice.
you. Thank you. All right. So everybody, check this out. This is Joe Parlapiano player. This is.
I never told what happened
tell
to
what
the
happened.
people
Go for it.
getting here late. So Joe came in here. I don't know why. I was drinking. Frank was drinking. Joe was not drinking. And Joe still made a bet for his beard that Duke was going to win it all.
Beard.
Beard. Isn't that what I said?
Yes.
So, anyways, I told him Michigan State was going to win. He said Duke. We got him to bet his beard. And, in the clip, you'll be able to see. And if you didn't know, Duke did lose. So
Duke lost.
Yeah.
Yep, Duke lost. And right away, it's so funny because I started getting messages from a bunch of people. I think it was Sam texted us and right away and said, "Oh, your boy's losing his beard." And Kevin jokingly posts that it's time to shave that head because I made a foul up on the video and told Joe he was shaving his head. So, guys, what you're about to see right now is the beard shaving. This went down earlier today in the backyard. So here we go. All right, ready? Can you see it up there or no?
Are we going to have sound?
So, time to pay up the bets, Mr. Joe. So, first off, do you feel like you've learned your lesson yet, or do you feel like you really need to go through this to learn it?
Nah, we're going to go through this. We're going to learn it the hard way. Because next week or 2 weeks or whenever when I come back, we're gonna talk more about stuff. So it's my job here to make Joe look like the butt pirate that he is. So that is why we've got. Did you get the
Oh, what happened? Oh, I pressed
We're
pause.
gonna do some landscaping here. So let's see. Just kidding, we're not ready yet. I got scared for a second. I'm like, shit. All right. So we're keeping what's rubber banded. Yeah, you want to keep what's rubber banded? Yeah, we're gonna keep what's rubber banded. All right. Sweet. All right. First thing we're doing here. Oh yeah, look at that. Who's your favorite team now? I'm probably gonna go with I don't know. I don't even pay attention to who's left anymore.
Look at that. He looks like a messed up hipster biker.
That looks terrible. I'm snapping this while you're recording. That looks absolutely terrible. Let's see. Let's keep. Nope. Yep. Yeah. Oh, we could leave it like Mr. Miyagi.
Oh my God! It's running out of battery.
Is it already?
No, not this. It sounds like that got
Sounds
slower.
like the clipper's getting slower. That's because it's not used to handling all this shit. Yeah, there's too much hair. Frank doesn't have any hair.
Dude, it is gonna. Oh, it's about to die.
Oh, let's hurry up. Oh, it's gonna be good.
Oh yeah, I almost slit your throat.
That's great. So, just so everybody that's watching knows, I have to take my daughter to school tomorrow.
Yep.
I also have to go do some other things tomorrow before we can fix this. So you can catch me live on the Ordinary Guys show going live while I drive around all morning, wondering what the hell I'm gonna do.
You just gotta play it like it's just every day.
Wait,
I'm
I got
gonna
a better
do it
idea.
too.
Alright, hang tight.
It wouldn't be this show if we didn't come out with a half-dead Ferris friggin' Cheers.
Because even when he gets trimmed up tomorrow, he's gonna have that gap now. What do you think?
Oh yeah.
Kevin, we missing anything?
I think it looks good.
All right.
You look beautiful.
That looks beautiful, Joe.
So
he's gonna walk around.
I got a big one. I got a
You
little
look like
one.
a sad samurai.
This is our sad samurai. Those shirts will be coming soon. I'm gonna find a way to make them.
All right, everybody. This should be a lesson to all of you. You make bets on the Ordinary Guy show. You got to pay him up
Quickly.
All right, Joe. It's been fun, man.
Peace.
I love it.
Awesome. That was freaking awesome. I had a blast with that. It was a good time.
Yeah, so just know, if you come on here and you run your mouth
Yep.
and you make a bet,
Yep.
you are going to pay.
100%.
So, and if you come on here just like Carrie had to, you're going to have to drink something disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just the way it is.
That's how we do it. Unless, for some other reason, you can't, but then we probably won't even have you on the show.
Yeah.
So, all right. Are we, dude, we're right at about an hour. Are we going to wrap this thing up and then just call it number 2 on 9/11, or are we going to just let this thing roll and make
We can
one
let
long?
it roll and you can chop it later.
That's fine.
Do you have those skills?
I'm not going to chop it later. I am not. I'm
It's
lazy.
going to be a 2-hour special.
It's gonna be a 2-hour
I'll
special.
chop it.
No, don't. You know why I don't like chopping it? Here's the deal why I don't like chopping it. Because you have to wait for YouTube to allow you to download it, and then you have to split it, and then you have to reload it, and then we lose all the views for the first one.
That was a really weird first burp.
It was a
like
lot of
sucked in.
Yeah, I do that. I don't know how I do that.
I don't
but
know.
I do.
What do you guys think? Keep it going, re-sign on, and you guys jump on, or just leave it rolling?
Yeah, we'll let you guys decide. We have actually an advisory board. We have a good advisory board. We got some good friends out there that like to give us
Bob's
good
on
feedback.
there. That's honestly,
Yep.
that's our man.
Well, we got Bob. I know Doug. I'm not going to try to.
Sam's on there.
Sam's on there. I do like what Matt has to say, DeBacco. Matt DeBacco has some good
Yes.
things to say. He's goofy as hell, but he gives some good feedback.
And what do we call something nasty on the show?
It's a DeBacco.
Yeah.
It's a debauchery. So
I say we just keep it rolling. We got 9 people on.
yeah, that's fine.
And if you're just
you're not
joining
supposed
us-
to say that on the video because the YouTube people are going to hear this, and once we get like thousands of views, they're going to be like, "What the hell? There's only 9 people
I
listening."
lied.
To this
We have
turd."
6,749.
On a side note, I happened to jump on a Rogan yesterday while it was going live, There was like 82,000 people watching live.
In only our imaginations.
But I mean, that's just insane. I don't know if I can handle that kind of pressure. That's like...
I do feel like you'll get nervous.
Me?
Yeah.
Of course.
You've been nervous since the first show.
So, to me...
They don't know this about you, as I know Frank doesn't bring the intro in, and I've never said this to him, because I feel like he has butterflies every show. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I feel like. Like, me, it's just another day at the office, but for him, I feel like he wants me to bring it in because he's got some butterflies going.
Okay, so this is where the show goes from a legit show where we talked about conspiracies to one of our normal shows, which is why I highly recommended we split the show up. But Kevin wants it this way, so I'm gonna give Kevin a taste of what I think is going on here. All right. So the amount of people live, right, is like the amount of people watching you, like, have sex. That's how I view it. Okay.
Always goes
so here's
to
the deal.
sex.
So if you're by yourself, you ever get one of those good boner days where you're like, how is this thing even bigger? Right? This thing's already so goddamn huge. How is it even bigger? Right? So now you get a good boner day. Well, the problem is the more people watch, you get a bad boner day. You ever have one of those bad boner days where you're like, I don't even know why. It doesn't even feel right to me.
So you're just worried about having a bad boner day.
I'm worried about having a bad boner day. With the more people we have, the worse the boner. And then all of a sudden, you're going to get it in, and someone is just like, that may be the smallest dick I've ever seen, and you had 82,000 people watching you on a bad boner day, and they're gone forever. I don't want that to happen to me.
I'm proud of both days. I don't care.
Can't. Because here's the deal. I think if you have to have a range of skills. Right? If you have a bad boner day, you got to be willing to do some other stuff. I don't know that I'm willing to do some other stuff. I don't think I'm going to let a finger go in my ass.
I think you overthink this a little bit.
I don't know, man.
Well, I have an update.
What's up?
We are steamrolling.
All right, wait, hold on. Brian jumped in late. Brian Bear. I normally don't like to comment like this too much on the audio because I kind of wanted to be like a standalone show. Brian, no, we said that we think that the first moon landing was faked to pump fake the Russians and essentially get them out of the race to the moon, but all the rest of them were real. All right? All right. The rest of them were real.
Yeah.
End of story. Watch it. You know what? That's your fault, Brian, for coming on late. Go back and watch it all. Hey.
Listen, I'm proud of... Don't do it.
I did.
It's your butt knew the show was supposed to be over, the first one.
I farted. I spray farted.
So, we have a monumentous thing right now.
What's up?
We are at 619 subscribers.
619 subscribers. Holy shit, Batman.
Yeah. Which means everybody who subscribes is not on the live cast.
They're not. No. You know what, to be honest
It's
with you?
because it's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday. One, it's a Wednesday, and two, I've kind of, we've been sheltered because our viewers like to give us positive feedback and stuff. And we had a video take off the other day, the Robert Kraft thing, and we had like 180, between thumbs up and thumbs down. I want to know who the fuck gave us a thumbs down.
I honestly don't
care. We
care.
had one thumbs down.
And to that person, touche.
Touche, my friend. Next time I see you, I will give you one thumb up and one thumb down.
I will have a duel.
I will play a thumb war with you.
All right, are we getting into 9/11?
Yeah, let's get a little serious. Now, here's the deal. I did not watch as much 9/11 stuff as I did the moon landing because I didn't know that we were going to have enough time.
Dude, this is my favorite one.
Oh, that was Jeff. All right, Murray.
I'm eating pocket cheese.
Hey, let me get one of those.
So,
tell everybody what happened.
Obviously, 9/11.
No, with the cheese.
Oh, Frank was trying to figure out what was in his pocket, and he found a whole bunch of string cheeses in there. So now, we're eating them.
Okay. I randomly had string
They're still
cheese.
cool.
They're great.
They're not hot.
No, I like it when they're not like cold because when they're cold, they almost snap.
Yeah.
And when they're a little bit room temperature, they're a little bit better.
Quick thought.
What's up?
Why does string cheese only taste good if you string it, but if you just bite it, it sucks?
It's not as good. It's almost squeaky, right?
But why?
I don't know.
It's the same thing.
Maybe it's got something to do with breaking the enzymes.
Look at that piece of cheese right there. That ain't natural.
All right, by the way, I was there for 9/11. Jeff was there for 9/11. Like, the year 9/11? How old are you, Jeff? All right.
Just old as balls.
Let's
But-
get serious. Let's get serious for a second. All right. Camera's on you, son.
Oh. Hi. So, 9/11, obviously a tragedy. I think everybody here that's listening is old enough to remember exactly where they were when it happened. I remember I was in college in my dorm. I had skipped class as usual, and I was watching.
You were in college?
2001 I graduated.
Okay, you're a few years older than me. That's
Yeah.
right. I was
So-
in Spanish class. By the way, true story because I heard it from somebody who had to have been telling me the truth. My high school college, what was she? My high school Spanish teacher apparently was gangbanged at the Pintos.
By your friends?
No. Apparently by just some dudes one night. I don't know. That's what I heard.
That's impressive.
Continue.
So, anyways, I remember I just woke up from a night out at the club. Those were the days.
No, I know you're gay.
Yeah. Well, I was freaking 17 and I snuck in. So, anyways, I remember watching it on TV and seeing the first one smoking, right? Because the second one hadn't hit yet.
Yeah, we were in class.
And I watched that second one live. And man.
Oh, no. So you see the first one smoking already? Sorry, I'm eating. You see the first one smoking already? Because the news obviously wasn't watching the Twin Towers when it first hit, right? It was after the fact. Watching that second one hit live.
That's what I'm talking about.
It did something to me, man.
Yeah, I still remember it. I remember being, I had drank a lot the night before. And, man, I remember thinking, am I still drunk? Is this really happening? That's how surreal it was, right? And I remember yelling to my roommates, you got to get in here and see this, because I was the only one with the TV. And they came in, and it was a very sobering experience. And literally as well at that point for me. But that being said, this is not meant to be disrespectful, because I had people that were friends at that college that their parents died in 9/11.
Sure.
I always believe that people died in that building. I also am not going to go the direction you even probably think I'm going to go.
Here's the deal. Again, I want to preface the same thing that Kevin said. Okay? 9/11 was a monumental day for all of us, all right? It was uniting. It was gut-wrenching. It was painful. I mean, people felt love that day probably for the first time, right? Mm-hmm. They lost a loved one, or they're looking at the person across the seat, across from them, and they're saying how much they freaking love them and how much they would, I would die if you were on that plane.
It was the first time that Democrats and Republicans came together.
Nobody cared. First time in a long time. So with that being said, our show is a comedy show. Okay? So I'm saying that right now. Okay? I'm going to make some jokes. It might be a little funny. There's certain things that I'm going to say that, don't mean to upset anybody, because here's the deal. That day, if I'm not mistaken, my dad or my uncle or one of them caught a connecting train underneath the building, right? I want to say it was my uncle. I have another uncle that worked on the 76th floor of the Empire State Building. So if it was the Empire State Building, my uncle would have been gone, right? So, again, my dad was in the building days before. I have pictures. I have a picture of myself taking a picture of the Twin Towers from the Empire State Building in October, that same year. I'll show it to you. I have a picture of me so I'm taking a picture of the Twin Towers from the Empire State Building, October of 2011.
You've been there.
No, not October.
Right?
I'm sorry, August.
You've obviously been there.
Yeah.
Like, to look up at those buildings, they are so tall.
You can see all the movies and all the pictures and everything
Doesn't
you
do it
want.
justice.
It does not. There is something about looking straight up at something so tall it makes you fall backwards. You know what I mean? You're like, holy crap, this is tall.
Yeah, because you can look at the Empire State Building as reference, because before the Empire State Building, the World Trade Centers were two of the largest buildings in the world. And so you can look at the Empire State Building and obviously imagine what that is.
What I meant to say, because I was reading the comments, and I hope I didn't call Brian out in a bad way. Brian says that the moon landing is real, beyond a doubt, and the plane was fake.
He's the opposite of me. Yeah.
Which one do you think is easier to make happen, Brian?
CGI is a wonderful thing. Listen, in 2001, I think the movie Godzilla with Matthew Broderick came out, and that lizard looked totally real. Totally.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm going to dive right into it.
Jump in.
So, a lot of things don't line up. First off, the building falls at free fall speed, right? And I'm going to get to why I believe this happened.
We clearly know the buildings did fall down, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The buildings got hit by planes. They got hit by planes with people in them. They got hit by United Flight, whatever. That's real. That happened. People died. It's a terrible situation. Where I think that it got screwed up is, first off, the Taliban, right, was initially started by the United States to fight the Russian government. That's real.
You have to say it the way the British women do, because for some reason, whenever there's a popular American story, it's always a British person who's telling it on the news. You not notice that? Because of the accent? So I was listening to something, and I'm like, oh, I've never heard anybody say, make Al-Qaeda sound so beautiful. So have you ever listened to the way they say Al-Qaeda? I'm going to say it wrong. It's
Al-Qaeda.
Yeah, it's like beautiful. You're like, oh, they actually sound like a legit group. I appreciate it.
No matter what, an English person sounds smart.
But why does an English person have to tell our story to us here in the States to make it sound good?
Because that's what the BBC does.
So we want to. You say BBC and it bothers me. It really does. I watch too much porn for you to reference BBC. I do.
British.
I do. I honestly do. I watch way too much
Why
porn
does it
for you to
always
talk
go
about
that
BBC.
direction with you?
I can't help it, man. I can't. Continue.
So, anyways, the whole Afghan army. Well, it's not the Afghan army. It's the Taliban. So the Taliban has been used before, right, by the United States government to fight the Russians because we didn't want to fight them directly. This is true. This is documented. This is not a conspiracy theory. So to say that they could be used as patsies in another situation by another country, they're for sale to the highest bidder, right? Because they have their desires, right? And they'll take money from whoever's going to give it to them. So that being said, I do think that they ran them planes into the building. I do find it strangely ironic that the person that was piloting one of those planes, his ID, by the way, fell out of his wallet, out of his pocket, out of a plane that just hit the side of the building, exploded into a diesel ball of flames, right?
So fucking
Goes
weird.
into the building.
It's like he had it on the dash.
But his ID ends up on the road, not a burn mark on it.
Right, that's weird.
That doesn't make any sense.
No.
Now, crazier things have happened.
Yep.
But
I got a girlfriend.
and she's still with you.
Yeah, I'm saying crazy.
Fiance.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, it's just there's a lot of things that don't line up. For instance, the building falling at free fall speed, right?
Right.
Both of them, actually. So,
But have you ever seen a building that big crumble before?
no.
Right. So that's one of those.
But I have seen the Empire State Building get hit by a plane and it didn't fall.
Right. I'm just playing devil's advocate, right? And just saying, like, there are some things you have to take into consideration. It's not a daily event, and it just looks different.
And
You get
how
what I
about how about this one? Timothy McVeigh blew the hell out of that building. It still stood. Mm-hmm. It did not free fall, and half of it was still up.
Well, there is an argument. I gotta stop fucking eating. There is an argument, though, about the quality of building construction between the two buildings. The Empire State Building versus the Twin Towers. I'm choking trying to eat down fucking beef
No,
jerky.
the Twin Towers were made with some revolutionary internal steel structure that was supposed to be incredible.
It was revolutionary. Was it more expensive? Probably.
Maybe.
They'd probably make a fuck ton of money so building that thing. It's revolutionary. My house has a little freaking knob on the side of it where you can just spray fucking bug chemicals right through my walls. Paid money for that.
I don't know how that has to do with this.
I'm just trying to say it's revolutionary shit, and you pay more money for it, and it sucks.
Well, here's the thing. There's a lot of things that I'm going to get into. So, Number one, the building falls at free fall speed. The only thing that falls like directly, it fell straight down, right? It got hit at the top. Take the cheese stick, for example. I'll open this thing up.
All right.
All
Hey,
right.
don't eat all of them.
I've only eaten one. You're going through like food like it's candy over here.
Oh, candy.
Oh my God, he's got candy.
I forgot. Look what I have.
A whole bag of candy.
All right.
Yeah, this is the story of my diet. I sit across from one of the skinniest fat people I know. Hold on.
We're back. We'll be back in a second. You see it?
All right, kill it.
No, we should be back.
You restreamed?
Yeah, I think so. We're back. We're going to have to edit the fuck out of this one. Here. It's on now. Jeff says it's on now.
Hold on, let's get a yes from YouTube.
What's up, everybody? And welcome.
To
This
the
is-
Ordinary
Hey,
Guys Show.
I'm not even going to edit this. You know why? It doesn't need to be edited. It doesn't need to be edited. Right? If Tom DeLonge can talk to Joe Rogan about fucking chemtrails and all that bullshit he was talking about and not get shut down, we should be just fine.
We're on YouTube.
Yep, we're back. All right.
Oh, and I gotta pee so bad.
You guys miss it. I just ate a big black Kit Kat bar.
So back to my 9/11 cheese
Yep.
stick. So I was saying, have you ever cooked on a skillet, a cast iron skillet, right?
Yeah, sure.
So you can get a sear going, right, before the handle gets hot,
Yes.
right? Meaning
Oh,
that
Sam says we're not on YouTube.
Scott says we're on YouTube.
All right. I'm killing it and restarting it.
No, don't. Hold on. Bob's on. Bob, are we on?
God damn it. Who put all this candy here?
You. I'm gonna go pee. Wait for Bob's response. Here. Type to Bob.
Oh, Jesus. What I got to do all this stuff for, man?
I gotta pee.
I'm trying to eat candy. I got 2 laptops. What in the hell? So we talk. I need everybody to see this. Kevin just ditches me. He puts a laptop in my hand. I'm in the middle. I'm eating candy. He just bails on me. I got no free hands to do anything. Yes, that's right, Jeff. No peeing. Bob, where are we at? Sam is full of shit. All right, Sam, I love you, buddy, but Bob says you're full of shit. Take it up with Bob. Thank you. This is the worst. I'm so glad we're not on like a network television show, because this is just terrible TV. This is awful. This is really, really bad, and I apologize, guys. So sad.
How messed up are you right now doing this by yourself?
Look at me.
Hey, Rush Limbaugh does it by himself all the time.
Well, Rush Limbaugh gets paid.
Okay, we're good?
Yeah, of course we're good.
All right. So I ate the cheese stick while I was in the bathroom.
You fucking kidding me?
I'm not kidding at all. So, anyways, we're going to imagine the cheese stick is my finger. All right. You hit up here, right? Very top. And let's imagine this is the very long handle. Those buildings were not standing all that long, right? So,
Cheese stick's up your ass, isn't it?
no. All right, so you hit here, you have thousands of degrees of temperature that, first off, cannot melt steel. It can weaken it. But you're telling me that it was enough to weaken the steel, right? Enough so that it got hot enough all the way at the bottom. Because if it breaks up here, right, naturally, it's going to break and just fall off.
Yeah, like what? How? Right.
It's not going to break in free fall speed down.
At this point, everybody's seen the video, so the idea is it's like the impact was not at all near the middle, let alone the bottom. You know what I mean? It was very close to the top. So how did that happen?
Well, I'll get to that. But there's another big hole, okay? And that is the Pentagon.
Oh, come on. I'm full of it now.
What?
Nothing. Go. Continue.
The Pentagon got hit. There is a mobile or Shell gas station or whatever that has a security cam that at first they would not release the footage, right? It's for a long time. Then they release the footage. Doesn't show any plane. Shows an explosion, nothing. Don't see a plane, nothing, right? Meaning whatever hit it was faster than the frames per second on that CC cam.
Or is it shitty cam?
All I know is if it was on the lunar Mars lander,
Oh, it
you'd
would have
seen
been
it clear as a bell.
18K. The shit would have been 25K, and it does natural slow-mo. The camera on the lunar Mars camera is so good that it actually slows down the object as it's moving.
It actually slows down reality.
The real object.
Yeah.
So you can see it better.
Yes, it does. It has a force field of telepathy.
Yeah.
So, that being said, so supposedly this 737, I think it was 740, I think it's 737, supposedly flies, down, does this unbelievable turn that only pilots of like Sully's caliber, hopefully we all know who Sully is, and flies this sucker right through the side of the Pentagon, which is dang near impossible for F-15 pilots. Meanwhile, this guy couldn't pass a basic freaking flight test in a Cessna. And you're telling me he's flying a 737 in the side of the building. I'll get to more of that in a second. No debris. If you see before the building falls, there is an entry point that is literally this big around, right?
Right.
It's a 737. There is no wreckage. You've seen when planes wreck. There's shit everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? And then if you look up on the internet, or really anywhere, there's an exit wound, so to speak, on the building. The other side of the building, there's a huge hole, meaning it penetrated and exploded. You let me know what plane can go through a hole this big and then create an exit wound. I'll get to more of that in a second. Then you go back to building number 7. Do you even know about building number 7?
I hope you guys are keeping track of seconds, because Kevin owes us a few seconds here.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you know about building 7?
Was building 7 the small one?
Building 7 is a small one.
Yeah. I have a picture of building 7.
So, building 7 is a smaller one that's a couple blocks away. Building 7 fell at free fall speed and caught on fire. Yet, no buildings around it got injured at all. No broken glass, nothing. These were glass-covered buildings. Nothing.
Were they related?
No, they didn't have nothing to do with trade centers. So
Maybe building 7 was in love with building 2.
Maybe it fell out of pure desperation of love. But anyways, so that building fell as well. Now, the common theory is our government allowed this to happen. They did it themselves. I do not believe that.
No, I don't
Not
think
for a second.
so. I don't think so.
I'll tell you what I do believe.
Okay, wait. Before we get too far in the weeds, I do want to kind of backtrack on a few things just to make sure. I ate way too much candy. I have chocolate mouth. Is that a thing?
Mm-hmm.
You eat so much candy or chocolate that you can barely move your jaw. So, let's backtrack for a second. We know that the event happened.
Oh, without a doubt.
Correct. So, are we in agreement that 2 planes did hit the building?
Yes.
Okay. So, we know that without a doubt it happened.
I don't think a plane hit the Pentagon.
Okay, so let's just talk about the 2 buildings, right? So, we're going back. Okay, so we know that the event happened. We know the buildings are gone. We know 2 planes crashed into them. And we are now saying that we don't think that our government intentionally did it. Right?
No, I don't.
Okay. So no, that's fine. That's fine. Because I think the part that you're getting into now, the can of worms that we're opening up and up
is who caused it.
Is 1, who caused it, and 2, what is the benefit, right? So here's the deal. We benefit as a country from any war. Correct? Like any war, no matter what, we benefit from it, right? So the fact that using that as an excuse, you get what I'm trying to say? Like you starting a war to benefit.
It got us out of the Great Depression.
It did get us out of the Great Depression, which is fine.
This is not the reason I believe this happened.
No. But I guess what I'm trying to say is it's right. So you can't solely pin it on we're trying to start a war because we could have easily started a war in an ally country and still benefited from the war.
Yeah.
You get what I'm trying to say? We still could have benefited from the war. So anyway, do you agree with that or no?
I do.
Okay.
But I don't go that way with my theory, and I've thought about this one a lot.
Okay, let's hear it.
I don't know why. I think it's because I watched it live, and it really concerned me.
So hold on. Brian, we benefit from any war for a few reasons. So
Industry.
Primary industry at that time. So it's not like the Great Depression where we benefit from steel because we were the primary steel producers, and we benefit. Jesus, I mean, but
McDonnell Douglas, Boeing,
Lockheed, every. So and again, I'm not trying to say this. So don't take this in a way that I am saying that this actually happened. I'm just saying that these are companies that benefit from war regardless, right? Defense companies, right here in the Space Coast, actually would have benefited, and I think we did. We had a lot of didn't we have a lot of contracts?
Anytime there's a war, we benefit one way or another because it produces jobs, it produces income.
Yeah, so that's it, Brian. It's jobs and incomes. It's not like saying that there's it's not like a Thanos mass genocide benefit kind of a thing, right? There's no
just marveled 9/11.
Right, there's no benefit in loss of lives, but there is benefit in production and industry essentially. That's really it. That's all I'm getting at.
So here's my I got so much I want to say. So let's go back to the Pentagon.
We're also not qualified to talk about this.
No.
At all.
But I have researched a lot while intoxicated and watching videos.
All right, go for it.
And this is 100% my theory. So like I said before, and where I'm getting full circle, is the Taliban, like I said, has been the patsy before. The Taliban was a good situation here to blame on it by another country, not our countries. What other countries would look at when they're trying to bring the United States down, all right? If you think about it, say you're Soviet Russia, which in this case it wouldn't be the Soviet Russia, it would be the Republic of Russia.
Yep.
But anyways, say you wanted to take us down. How would you do it? You can't fight us because we're going to whoop your ass. Unless maybe you're China and then you'll give us a good go. But a lot of people are going to die and a lot of shit's going to get blown up.
Right.
So, what would be the easiest way to take the United States down? Bring down our economy. Because when we were in a recession before, it was our most vulnerable time.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So, if you're an outside country looking at the United States, you see the World Trade Center, which is the epicenter of the United States finances, right? I mean, essentially,
yeah,
that's where our stock market
sure
and everything else is held. Here's what they don't know. They don't know that in the United States, there's always two of everything. I mean, there's two space centers. There's another one in Texas and California, so there's actually three. Everything that is important, there is a secondary location. They don't know that. They probably do now. It's not like, secret or anything. But you just know there's always a backup, right?
Well, I think the idea is it's like the whole Camp David talk, right? Like, where's the president?
Yeah.
Like there are several
And
places
honestly,
where the
where is the
president
president?
could be.
Do we really ever know where the president
Well,
is?
our president's golfing.
And they've been known to have body doubles.
Sure.
Although
but
Trump and his hair would be really hard to hide.
Well, he's probably also like F a body double. I don't want one. But no. So, anyway, all I'm getting at though with that is it's like there are multiple locations, right? I think it takes a little bit of inside info and strategic planning to get the right location at the right time on top of luck, right? Like, so if they were going to say, if they're going to create an attack and then say, now our goal is to get the president, right? They either have to take out all the locations or have an inside of know which locations he's going to be at.
Yes.
Does that make sense? So that has nothing to really do with what we're talking about. What we're saying, though, is there's always backup locations. Shit can still run. Shit can still function.
But they don't know that.
Correct.
I mean, because from the outside looking in, and if you're not an American, you don't know how we work. Americans back up everything. I back up my Apple computer.
Well, don't you
4
remember
times.
even immediately following the attack how right here on the Space Coast they were worried because of Patrick, and it turned out that the president actually did like a layover in Patrick? Do you not remember that?
I don't remember that.
So apparently, I mean, again, I don't know, but this is what I was told, that the president actually flew down to Patrick and then went from Patrick to Camp David to throw off.
Well, I do think
True.
they had good intel, because if you have researched it, all the F-15s that were close to D.C., right, were not in the area. They were on a drill. So I do feel like they had some inside
to kind of
knowledge.
know what was going on.
Because there was nothing there to shoot down whatever they did.
We also have to admit, though, that there's a big difference in security pre and post 9/11.
Yes.
So post 9/11, I don't think that happens. Do you think, right? You get what I'm trying to say? Like, there's too many. I think there's too many fail stops in there for it to happen again. But anyway.
So, anyways, looking at all this, I do think that they used the Taliban or whatever to get the pilots to be the patsies. Could have been the Russians, could have been the Chinese, could have been anybody. I mean, everybody's pissed at us at this point.
Sure, for different reasons.
So they got to try to take us down financially, which will bring us down from the inside out, right? So you send over 2 airplanes, right? I think we both agree that those things didn't fall at free fall speed. And if you listen to the phone calls from the firefighters as well as the police officers that were inside the building, they keep saying the exact same thing multiple times, multiple different people. There's a bomb going off in floor 32. There's a bomb going off in floor 68. There's a bomb here. There's a bomb there. I think that it was much more in depth than the government wants us to believe. I never think our government had anything to do with it. I'm not that crazy. But what I do think is the government wants to protect us from being scared because it'll create pandemonium.
Sure.
I do think that they infiltrated the building. They set charges, they hit it with the planes, and they brought the thing down by demolition.
So the same group set charges?
Yes. And so the things fall.
You think the planes were more of the distraction than the device?
By them as well. Because they wanted you to believe, meaning the outside government, and this is getting way deep, but I've thought about
this is
a lot.
deep. This is deep, but
I believe that the outside government wanted you to think that the, Taliban did it.
Sure.
But the Taliban doesn't have that kind of resources to blow up a building.
Well,
I mean, they may, but I
the
doubt it.
Al-Qaeda.
Yeah, same thing to me.
So, yeah, yes and no, if I'm not mistaken, right? The Taliban was more localized. Al-Qaeda was like their international. I don't know enough. I don't know enough to be talking about this, really, to be honest with you. And I've been drinking, so I don't even know. But it does make sense that the planes were more of a distraction than the device, right? If you think about it in that sense.
Well,
why do I move your microphone when I move mine down?
Because you're moving the table.
Oh, so but anyway, but that does make sense in the way that, so for example, the first, like, see, here's the deal. They gathered great intel. Who hope not what? They gathered great intel in the first attempt to blow up the World Trade Center. You get what I'm trying to say? Where they realized that you can't just drive a bomb into the garage.
Well, they also allowed the 9/11 Act, which kind of eliminated some of our rights, but also opened up Guantanamo for, torture purposes.
Yeah, that's a whole nother.
They're going to say they just waterboarded, but we learned a lot about a lot. And to get deeper down this cycle and why I believe what I believe. Because at first I thought, like everybody, hey, 2 planes hit the building and the thing fell down. But then as you look at the Pentagon, right, and you have CCTV that doesn't show a plane.
Sure.
You have a maneuver that could have never been done by the person that was claimed to be flying it. And then you have no wreckage of a plane. Every time I see a plane wreck, there's shit everywhere. Like everywhere.
Sure.
And then you're going to sit here and tell me that was a plane? That wasn't a plane. But it makes sense as the United States government to say it was a plane because that scares the people less. It's a freaking missile. They have found that the Al-Qaeda has had drones. They have captured some of our drones and been able to take them. Like they couldn't be able to get a hold of one of them things and then blow up our Pentagon.
Are you confusing this with Iron Man, where they captured the suit
No,
and
they
were
really
able to
have
rebuild
been
it? No, I'm
found
just
with
teasing with
drones.
you. I'm just teasing with you. But, okay, so that's kind of what I wanted to address. I think it makes more sense if we, instead of just talking about 9/11, actually say what the conspiracy is.
The conspiracy is another country and Al-Qaeda, I feel, combined to try to take us down and didn't work.
So do you think it's more realistic that the Russians backed Al-Qaeda? And I'm just saying Russians.
Just know from
but
doing
whoever.
this episode, we're on Al-Qaeda's hit list now.
I'm sure we are.
So American
I'll give them
Regardless.
my address. Yeah. Who's I forget who it was. Somebody said that. So gosh, I was just listening to that. Why can't I remember? I don't even know.
I don't
about
care
I'll
if
give,
I'm on their hit list.
No, I was watching a movie. It was like, I'll give them my address and I'll keep the door unlocked. So, but anyway, so no, what I was getting at was, so, you know, it makes sense. Look, we have done that. Guys, if you're listening to this and you dispute this, it's just foolish. But we have done this same thing overseas. Maybe not to the extent of, blowing up this is the world's most popular building at the time, so really it would never have been done before. But look, we have started wars in other countries under, rebellious factions, have we not?
Vietnam,
we're responsible for arming the Taliban, are we not?
yes.
Right?
We created our own worst enemy.
So, but did we create our own worst enemy? Or did somebody else use our creation against us?
I think that, like I said, they're on sale to the highest bidder.
Right. So which is the point. So it's not crazy to think that the Russians used the Taliban to start a war with us, just like we would have used them against, Iraq.
No, they're a patsy in all situations. And let me preface this and say I am talking about the Taliban. I'm talking about Al-Qaeda. I am not talking about Muslims.
No, not at all.
Because
Calm the hell on, people.
I don't want people thinking we're like some anti-Muslim channel.
I am not anti-Muslim.
I am anti-people that try to kill Americans.
I'm just pro-America.
I'm anti-people that try to kill people.
You know what I am, Kevin?
Huh.
I'm American regardless.
And drunk. He is going through this, Jack, and he's getting more violent. He's going to break his crystal. Did it just break it off in there? Are we going to drink crystal?
Sure. Smoke crystal meth. We've done it on the show before, Kevin. Don't you remember?
I haven't even got to the other plane, and you're throwing it for a whole loop.
So, okay. One of the things that I do want to say before I forget, because you know that I can forget my thoughts rather easily. One of the things I do want to say, and so Brian, I'm so glad Brian's interacting with this, because he's reminding me of my thoughts. So one of the things that I wanted to make it a point of saying was, I think we rely too much on intelligence being the end-all, be-all, and we know everything. You kind of agree with me? Like, there is shit that we don't know.
Yeah, and you got to accept that.
You have to accept that. You have to absolutely accept that, because if that was the case and there was shit that we knew all the time, crime wouldn't happen. It would be the fucking Minority Report. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, crime would not happen. So here's the deal. And again, I'm not, I'm not belittling anybody. I'm not trying to talk bad about any situation. I don't know a lot about almost anything. But a lot of these, like, mass shooter incidents, the FBI has known something, right? But of all the some things that they know, how are they supposed to guess which one is going to turn into something?
They're not, and that's where people are crazy, because there's a bazillion some things that happen every day.
So is it not possible that on a bigger scale, with, let's call it the same amount or less amount of some things, but across the entire globe, that the CIA was aware of something, but
I would hope so.
but not able to pinpoint
Yeah, I would
exact
hope so.
details. So I would feel very good knowing that they were aware of something and that they were planning on doing something, but have either the wrong dates or the wrong info or the wrong lead. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to say. I don't think that our government had anything to do with any of this.
That's why I agree with you on that. And I want to think that way. That's how I want to think, because to be honest with you,
I think we got caught with our pants down.
I think we got caught with our exactly. I think we got caught with our pants down. I think people took advantage of maybe intel that they shouldn't have had, that maybe we were too open with, or knowing that the all the jets were on. What were they on? They were just on routine training missions.
Yeah, they were doing training missions.
So
they couldn't get there fast enough.
Right. So that's kind of what
Sad
I'm getting
to say,
at.
but they'd have shot those jets down.
Yes, but I mean, look, at the end of the day, sure, people would have been pissed, but
Saved about 2,000 people.
I think everybody would have got it, right? So anyway, I want to think that our government had nothing to do with, wanting to be in a war. That's why I was prefacing earlier that we benefit from war regardless. And I didn't mean that in a way saying that we started the war so that, we wanted to benefit. Meaning, there's no need. Whether we started or we don't start it, we'll benefit from a war somewhat, right? Again, I'm talking about industry. I'm not talking about lives. That's a totally different story. So, did you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
What I'm saying, I don't think we started this because we wanted to start a war to boost our economy.
No, I don't think we started at all.
Okay, so good. That's what I want. That's where I want people to understand that I don't think that we started that.
The only big hole in the story, and doesn't make sense to me, and I can't put it together why it would have happened, and it leans more towards our government being involved. A lot of people for United 93, right, claim that when they went out there to look at the crash site, there was no plane wreckage.
I forgot to put mixer in there.
I've been drinking it that way the whole time.
I am now. All right.
So
So they went to go look at the wreckage, and
you remember which one 93 was, right?
dude,
One out in the woods?
Yes. The one that was brought down.
Yeah. Well, by the passengers.
Correct.
Because supposedly it was on the way somewhere, I forget. But
Well, no, because this would have been the last plane, correct? And they were
Yeah.
aware of what was going on?
yeah, they figured it out. Well, they had phone calls from the plane from passengers.
Correct.
Yeah. And
All those people not
they
listening
helped
to the
wreck
rules.
it. I mean, essentially they helped wreck it because they attacked the attackers. Now,
This is where I said that I'm going to make jokes about this, and I'm going to have a good time about this. If I could travel in time, the second thing I would do besides stop the entire event was give that guy one last hand job before he brought down the plane. Dude, come on.
he didn't bring down the plane. Did you ever watch it? The movie?
Whoever brought down the plane, I'll jerk him off.
The
real quick.
passengers tried to fly it. They took the plane back over. That sucker was in a downward spiral. They couldn't pull it out.
So they would have pulled it out, buddy, because I'd have been jerking them.
But there is supposedly, and this is getting very far-fetched, and I don't think I believe this. This part I have no idea what happened. Because if the story's true that there's no wreckage there either, and then you hear reports that those people got off the plane and then put up a fake plane, there's all sorts of stuff behind this one. This one I can't pinpoint. But the other ones I can, without a doubt, say buildings fell. I don't believe the buildings fell from just the planes. I know frickin' Building 7 didn't fall from debris that didn't happen to hit any other building. And I know that the Pentagon didn't get hit by a 737.
Okay.
So it's you know what? We'll know, just like Kennedy, we'll know when we're dead.
We'll know when we're dead. So here's my take on this, Kevin, and I don't want this to be in a way because I enjoy doing the show with you, and this is obviously not the kind of thing that's going to obviously make us break up the damn show because we disagree on this, right?
Mm-mm.
But I'm not disagreeing, but I think the main conspiracy is that we were involved. You get what I'm trying to say? So if the conspiracy is that we were involved outside of somebody maybe leaking a little bit of intelligence, you get what I'm trying to say? I don't think we purposely let this happen.
Well, and then leaning towards why we would be involved if, in fact, there was no wreckage on 93, right? And it was headed to another undisclosed location because they don't know where it ended up. Let's say it was, I don't know, headed towards the Federal Reserve, right? And then the other ones are hitting, by the way, several $1 billion, I think, had just went missing from the Pentagon in the exact spot it got hit. Like, that's true. I mean, that kind of leads to point at somebody internal. But I personally don't want to think our government is attacking ourselves. Although, there was also a manifesto put forward, right, of war games, because we do war games like scenarios for the government to prepare for situations. And guess what it was? If 2 planes hit the World Trade Center and they fall, what would happen?
Is part of that coincidence because there's 2 planes and 2 towers? You get what I'm trying to say?
It singled out the twin towers.
Well, yeah, but you get what I'm trying to say, though, is it's like, of
but
course.
What's to say that whoever didn't get that manifesto and use that as the plot, right?
Right. So I guess what I'm getting at is if there was any sort of intel passed to, because again, we've said it before, and I want to say that, like, look, we caught, like we said earlier, we got caught with our pants down, right? But there's a reason why we got caught with our pants down, and I think there was some intelligence that somebody had on us. Guess what, guys? There are spies. There are spies all over the world. That's what countries have been doing.
You ever see that movie, The Russians?
I don't think I have. No.
Or not The Russians. Crap. Anyways.
No, you just pulled a me.
Yeah.
So that's perfect. So, but look, there are spies, and I'm not trying to be like the weird paranoid guy that there's spy. No, there's no spy listening to me. I'm not worth listening to. But there have always been spies that have held court with kings. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, there have always been spies. Always.
I think there was just one recently caught.
There was.
Yeah, one in our Senate. God, dog, that ignorant woman. Somebody help me out. It's the one that's in
AOC.
the Senate. No, it's not AOC.
No,
the 29-year-old bartender.
No, she's in the house.
She doesn't even know as much about politics as I do.
Anyway, no, I guess what I'm getting at is, so if the conspiracy is that we as a country had something to do with it, I want to debunk that. I obviously don't have the ability to debunk that, but I want to say that I don't believe that to be accurate. I do, however, believe that they had intelligence via spy, via somebody that they converted. You get what I'm trying to say? There was something that gave somebody information, and I hope to God that they didn't know that it would turn out this way. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, just because that would be just the most gut-wrenching thing ever.
You know what's the most shaming thing of being a Republican?
What's up?
Bush Jr. holding that book upside down during all this.
Yeah.
What a jackass.
You know what, though? I remember I was watching the documentary, and it showed his face when he was reading the books to the kids.
Yeah, he was gone. He didn't know what was going on.
No, he looked so damn confused. But you know what? He held it together.
He did.
You know, and I appreciate people bash that, or why was he so melancholy? But no.
What do you want him to do? Stand up and start screaming and set the world on fire?
Exactly. I think he handled it correctly. I don't care what party he was, right? I think he held it correctly. I think Clinton's capable of doing that, right? I feel like Obama would have been a president that was capable of doing that. Keeping a face just for a few freaking minutes while you're on camera and then go and figure out what the hell happened. Trump, no. Honest to God, Trump, no.
He'd have thrown that book at a little kid's face. He'd have slapped 7 other kids. He'd have rumbled out of that room.
He would have picked the one little Muslim kid in the class and kicked him.
Comb over would have been straight up.
That's what I'm saying. So, again, this isn't to play politics here. This is to just say that, like, look, you know, he was clueless. He was clueless. Yeah. He had no clue what was going on.
Well, he was clueless the whole time he was in office.
He was clueless the whole time.
That's the dumbest man I ever voted for in my life.
Yeah.
How do you fall that far from the tree? Like, Jeb's an idiot, too, though.
Jeb's a freaking...
Like, Senior's pretty got it together, right?
You know, he was probably like, what the fuck? You know how some parents feel like, you hear stories like they don't want to go until they know their kids were okay? Dude, Bush has been holding on. That's what he was holding on for this whole time, was Jeb.
He named him Jeb.
He named him Jeb. Jebediah.
Here's the funny thing.
Jebediah Springfield.
Jeb's like, I got this in the bag. Dad's president. Dumbass brother's been the president. Now it's my turn. Governor of Florida. Did a decent job when he was governor of Florida. And then he met the Trump train.
Yep.
And Trump made him nothing.
Well,
He couldn't handle Trump.
nope.
The only person that could handle Trump was Cruz, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Lion Ted Cruz.
Lion Ted
But
Cruz.
freaking Jeb didn't know what to do when
Nope.
somebody, because Jeb had always been catered to. You could just tell, right? And then Jeb gets out there on the stage and freaking Trump attacks him, and he was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Like, he
Yeah.
ate him alive.
So, I mean, is there more that you wanted to say on this? Is there other conspiracies about it, or are we saying, that are we just agreeing that we don't think that, the conspiracy that we had something to do with it is true?
I don't. I think it's half of I don't want to believe it.
I agree with you. But I think just like you want to believe other things like the moon landing and stuff, you come to the conclusions that we said was, well, sure, maybe the other 5 are real. You know what I'm trying to say?
Another damning piece of evidence, though, is since Trump's been in office, what's happened? I mean, honestly, what has happened that the Taliban or Al-Qaeda has done to us? Nothing.
Yeah.
So that would lead you to believe it might be internally influenced.
Here's the deal, and a lot of this is probably because I watch way too many freaking movies. And if you know, almost all of like the military themed movies, and that doesn't mean it needs to be Saving Private Ryan, right? Like, it doesn't need to be a freaking war movie, but anything that involves stuff like the CIA, Narcos, for example, right? You had CIA agents doing almost anything they freaking wanted just to get a result, right?
Let me ask you a very serious question.
Go for it.
Do you watch the porn alternatives, such as Saving Ryan's Privates or Narnuts?
Okay, here's it. I do not, and here's
You're
the
not
reason.
into that?
I don't want storyline in my porn.
No?
No, they don't belong together.
You don't have time to actually listen to the dialogue?
No, because I want to actually listen to it, right? But I mean, what am I doing? I'm beating off in a dark bathroom with the lights off in the middle of the night. I don't want anybody to hear that shit.
Does your fiance
Sure.
care about any of this?
I think she'd prefer me do that.
Just leave her alone.
Just leave her the fuck alone.
Let her sleep.
Let her sleep. I agree. So,
Yeah, I took us way off topic.
yeah, where the hell were
And
we?
you've been drinking, which doesn't help.
No, it doesn't help. So, I don't know.
We kind of wrapped it up. I mean, to be honest. But, no, once again, we're going to know when we're dead. Kind of like Kennedy.
So I get no. What I was getting at was we see a lot of this stuff about CIA and internal stuff, and again, a lot of this stuff, guys. I'm seeing the same shit that you are on Netflix. It's dramatization. It's not necessarily real. Some stuff could be, vaguely real, but I think ultimately here what we're getting at is that a lot of this stuff is it's dramatized. It's trying to sell movies, right? That doesn't mean that these aren't real people who are making real deals, behind the scenes to try to get shit done. Look, I've got an informant. I'm going to give him a little bit of information. I'm going to get him a little bit of information in order to get a bigger picture. Look, I will tell you when the safest time, because what if the guy's misleading him? When's the safest time to smuggle in drugs via a plane? I'll give you some information on what's going on.
Holy crap.
What?
Dude.
What?
New movie review about that. Great show on Netflix.
What?
Are we really going down this path?
Sure.
Now I got to look it up because I forget the name of it.
Do you want to just call this quits and do a bonus?
Yeah, we'll do a bonus.
All right. Everybody. Dude, thank you so much for listening to this. I know this was a lot different than most of our other shows, and I intentionally tried to leave all the dicks in my pocket.
You did all right.
So I tried.
There's only like 3% dicks.
Just a couple. So thank you guys so much. And look, this stuff is very interesting to me. So if you're listening out there and you actually know this sort of stuff, if you want to come on and talk about something, I want to tackle the monsters. I want to tackle like Bigfoot, Loch Ness. I want to get on those.
Loch Ness ain't a thing no more. The guy that did it before he died said it was faked, and
God
he faked it.
Damn him. But see, that's what I'm saying. But we need that sort of clarity on all these
Dude,
things.
I'm telling you, I spend tons of nights. This is my thing.
The Kennedy assassination,
That
the
one-
origin of AIDS.
Monkeys, supposedly.
Apparently, but did you hear the deal? Apparently, it wasn't him banging a monkey. It was apparently somebody in the woods ate a monkey that was not cleaned correctly or not prepared correctly.
Which would mean it's not always blood-borne.
No, which meant that like it was not. It was yes. He got the monkey blood on him by
Who
not
would eat a
preparing.
monkey?
Dude, a lot of
think a
people eat
monkey would taste
I
good.
know somebody in Colombia who says that monkey is like a delicacy there.
Speaking of that, you know the cranes, the big tall cranes here, the sandhill cranes,
Yeah.
the red-headed ones.
Yeah.
You know, in other places they're called the ribeye in the sky.
Is that the same crane?
Yeah,
Are you sure?
yeah.
Because-
They're illegal to hunt in Florida, but
either
I don't
Texas.
know why.
I want to say in Texas they're called the ribeye in the sky, and apparently they're a beautiful red meat, red
Dude.
meat bird.
I hate them things.
Saying
The
every time
second they become legal.
we get some here in my neighborhood, and every time I run, I'm always afraid that they're gonna chase me. What's up, Eddie?
Bob says, "Do you want to tackle BBCs?"
Yeah, yeah, let's go. But, all right, so Kevin, sign us off for everybody.
All right, so I want to give a big shout out to two people that listened in tonight. American Regardless. I'm actually straight from work, so I don't have their shirt on, but you need to check it out. It's AmericanRegardless.com, correct, Frank?
Yes.
Awesome veteran group. Totally into the whole Second Amendment. Just check it out. Do yourself a favor. You'll like it.
Yes.
If you listen to us, you'll like them. And another one is Brian BairAir, who was in the chat room here. Owns BairAir here in town locally, Brevard County. If you need AC needs, and he has worked on mine as well as he's worked on yours, I think.
Yep.
Best by far, and I think it was rated #1 by one of the
saw
local
that.
magazines. Yeah.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Great guy, one of my good friends.
Yes.
And just give him a call, and he'll take care of all your AC needs, and it will be reasonable.
Seriously, tell him you heard about us on the show and you want to give him a call. In fact, there's somebody out there listening I know who's supposed to give him a call, so you go do that. American Regardless, if you order something online, use the promo code OG Show. You get 10% off. And if you use OG, look, it's a small company. We know them. If you use OG code, they'll let us know that it's working, and we know that we're hooking you guys up with discounts. So I appreciate that. Another thing too is, what was I thinking? We said BairAir. Oh, check out guys, Valentino's and Garden Street. We're trying to get Anthony Giovanco on here.
Where me and Frank met.
Yes, where we met. So I'm trying to get Anthony on here for a show. I think it would be awesome. Also trying to get you guys a promo
Best pizza
code.
in town.
Hands down, I'm not lying
You can
about
take that Greek crap
Yep.
and throw it in the trash.
But here's the deal: if
you're
want,
local, you know who I'm talking about.
If you want a real Italian pizza, you get it from Valentino's. Searstown is good too. Valentino's on Garden Street, though, however, will deliver it to you.
Honestly, it's always been my favorite.
It's been my favorite. I'm not lying. But if you want it a really good way, just my tip, there's two pizzas I'll tell you, okay? There's nothing wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong with a plain cheese cooked well, all right?
Yep.
A well-done cheese. You're going to get
New
a nice
York
crispy
flop.
crust. Yes, you're going to get the New York flop. You're not going to get the soggy flop. You're not
Yep.
going to get the limp dick in the middle, all right? That's what you want to get. And also, while Kevin and I were working there with Anthony, we came up with two things that were freaking delicious, all right?
Pizza
you
roll.
want what's up?
Pizza roll.
Pizza roll. You get a pizza roll. Actually, there's three things. So you need a pizza roll. Look, you get that same large pie, cooked well done with pepperoni and banana peppers. It's fucking on point. And then Anthony created the STP. Ask him if he remembers the STP. That's a chicken parm with ham on top of it. It is freaking delicious. Order one of those. Let me know what you think. Guys, he hasn't even been on the show. We don't even have a promo code for you guys, but I'm trying to get you guys one, and it would be really cool to do something there with them.
And it's got some nostalgia for us.
It really does.
Yeah.
I freaking love that place. And again, that's where Kevin and I met. Anthony tricked us. Anthony tricked both of us into coming in.
I don't
and,
even
like,
think Anthony paid me.
washing
he paid
dishes.
me in food.
But remember, he tricked us into like coming in and he needed help.
Yeah.
To come in and wash dishes. For,
Well, because I was a Pizza Hut
help us
delivery
out.
guy before Singular, and then he needed somebody. I'm like, well, I'll come over there if you give me some free food.
And I was in college, and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever.
So I kept my tips. He gave me free food. It was a great deal.
It was great. It was great. So anyway, if you're another company that you want some shout-outs on the OG show, I mean, we don't ask for much, man. Just hook up our listeners with something, that benefits them. Again, this is way too long for an outro, guys. I think I'm drunk.
Yeah, you are. But it's all right.
All right. Guys, we're signing off. Kevin and I are do you want to go live again?
Sure.
Or, so we're going to put a bow on this. Guys, we're at freaking 2 hours. This is 2 hours long. So we're going to put a bow on this bad boy, and we're going to go on Eddie Hansen. I see that you're online. You're coming on the show. You're coming. You're coming.
That's weird.
All right. All right, everybody. Have a good night. Peace.